Hi, Brian Murphy with WRAL. I'm right here on the UNC Chapel Hill campus. Just finished a conversation with Chancellor Lee Roberts. We talked about Carolina North, this development about 2 miles north of the main campus, what they're calling the biggest expansion of campus since the late 1700s. Lee Roberts talked about why now is the time to build Carolina North, what he expects to build out there, and the future of the Dean Smith Center. Will they move that out to Carolina North, or will they rebuild and refurbish the current Smith Center? If you like content like this, make sure to like and subscribe WRAL YouTube page. Here's my full interview with Lee Roberts. I know you're here to talk about Carolina North. I went to school here. This is a property I didn't even know Carolina owned. Can you give us a little history on how the school acquired this land and how long you've been kind of waiting to do something with it?
This is the former airport property up on MLK. It's only about 1.5 miles from the historic campus here where we sit at South Building. And the university just could not be more fortunate to have this additional acreage available for development. Most universities, most of our peer universities would give anything to have this additional land available. And I think we have both the ability and the obligation to develop it to serve the people of North Carolina. You know, we have both the ability and the duty to lead and serve the state as it continues to grow and change. So, you know, we're one of the fastest growing states in the country. We'll be the 7th largest state by 2030. We have extraordinary demand for STEM degrees. It's now half of the undergraduate degrees in the college. And the town has a significant challenge with affordable housing for working families. And this Carolina North site allows us to address all of those challenges.
When did the university acquire that land?
University's owned it for a long time. So it was donated by Professor Horace Williams, a philosophy professor. Remarkable that he was able to assemble that much acreage. University's been working on what to do with the land for almost 20 years, really since 2006-07. The 2008 financial crisis slowed things down significantly, but it's been on the books as an area for possible development for a long time. So people ask me why now. My answer is, what has taken us so long? This asset is owned by the people of North Carolina. We have the ability to use it to help improve the future of the people of the state. We have an obligation to do that.
You've already instituted a plan where undergraduate enrollment is going to grow by, I think, 5,000 over 10 years. I've been on this campus, you've been on this campus. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of place to put 5,000 more people. Developing this Carolina North property, will that allow you to even expand enrollment even greater?
We don't have a plan to go beyond that 5,000 over 10 years, but that's significant growth. As you say, that's 25% of our undergraduate population. We're going to put 2,000 student beds at Carolina North in the first phase. We're also growing here on the historic campus. We're building the first new dorm here in this area in a generation, 700 beds over here on Country Club Drive, where Jackson Hall sits now, the admissions office.
How much will it cost? I mean, we're covering a lot of construction projects all over the state, and costs keep going up and up. When you look at developing a property like that, how much cost are we talking about, and how do you pay for something like that?
The big advantage is that we own the land free and clear. That gives us tremendous flexibility. So we see a wide range of financing options. We intend to do a lot with private sector partnerships. So when you think about student housing, for example, we can ground lease the land to a student housing developer. We can joint venture the land. I think you'll predominantly see structures like that. We might do some work on the infrastructure front that could use a little bit of state financing or debt financing from the university, but this is not primarily a taxpayer-funded project.
You mentioned student housing. What else? What other kind of buildings do you see out there? There's been talk. Do you move the law school out there and then you clear some space on the main campus, or do you envision other types of development happening out there.
This is going to be a full-blown campus, a live, work, play, learn, research, study environment. And I think everyone knows what makes a campus feel special is the mix of uses. It's not having just residential or just classroom space or lab space or office space. It's putting everything together with plenty of recreational opportunities and open space that gives a campus its special feel, and we think we can replicate that at Carolina North.
When? I mean, that's always the next question, right? These projects take a lot of lead time. When do you think people will start to see activity out there, and then when can people move in, maybe?
So we're putting out an RFQ for a master developer imminently, and we expect to break ground in 2027. So we think we'll have students living there by 2029. And that's not a new location for our students. You know, half of our students live off campus. A lot of them live up MLK now.
Right.
That's an emerging residential corridor. A lot of them live right around the Carolina North development as it is. So I think having more students there will continue to feed the development of that part of town.
I was telling Luke I lived on Ashley Forest, which is right there off 86.
Sure.
On the way out there, two things immediately come to mind. That corridor then becomes, between main campus and Carolina North, would then become a huge growth opportunity, you would think. And then secondly, how do you move people between the two locations?
I think that area will continue to grow. You've seen a lot of growth there already. And we obviously need to improve the connectivity between the campus here and Carolina North. Importantly, the town is building out bus rapid transit. They have the first piece of federal funding for that. That will run between Carolina North, MLK, and Franklin Street. And then the BRT route turns right over here, down Columbia. It goes past the Carolina Inn into the medical complex. And so bus rapid transit will make a big difference to the connectivity across Chapel Hill, and especially with Carolina North.
Will there be some dedicated bus lanes on 86?
So BRT is a dedicated bus
Okay.
lane. They say fixed guideway. It's having its own lane with dedicated stops. And they've already figured out where the stops will be. There will be one right at Carolina North. There's one right over here in front of the Deke House on our land. We've already done the easements for that, and so they're well on their way.
If people have heard of Carolina North, one of the reasons they've heard of it is a possible location for the Smith Center, the Dean Dome. I know that's not necessarily included in this phase, or at least your initial planning. Is that a possible location for a new basketball arena, and how are those conversations going?
We haven't made any decisions about the basketball arena. There's no perfect solution. We think Carolina North could be a good solution. What's not a solution is the status quo. We need to invest significant capital in the Smith Center to keep it operational. It needs a new roof. Everyone knows about the problems with the bathrooms and the concessions. There's work to be done for ADA compliance, and so we need to step back before we spend $80 to $100 million to put a Band-Aid on the Smith Center and replace the roof, to make sure that we're spending that money as well as we can, especially at a time when it costs much more money to field elite programs. Everybody's trying to figure out how to generate more revenue for their athletics program. We're no exception. We're going to spend a lot of time making sure that we have the best advice that we can get. We sincerely want as much feedback as we can get from the broad community of Tar Heel fans who love Carolina basketball. That passion is obviously a great thing, and we want to make sure that fans feel represented, former players, Rams Club members, that everyone has a chance to weigh in, and we make the best decision possible.
You're certainly getting a lot of feedback, and I think people kind of know the reasons to keep it on South Campus. What would be the reason to put it at Carolina North? What could you do at Carolina North that maybe you couldn't do on South Campus?
Again, there's no perfect solution, but the advantage to Carolina North is you could build a new arena with modern amenities, with premium seating, which would certainly help us on the revenue side. Again, everyone's trying to figure out how to generate more revenue. Okay. We could address the considerable traffic and parking issues that we have at the current Smith Center location. And you know, most new arenas now are being built with amenities around them. So you have a place to get a bite to eat before the game or a drink after the game. That also helps with traffic because you're spreading out the demand. And at a time when a lot of folks have a 4K television screen in their basement, you need to give them reasons to come to the game. And that's why you're seeing so many more entertainment options being built around modern arenas, giving people more of an experience, more of a reason to fight the traffic, fight the parking, and come to the basketball game.
Even if it's not basketball, would you try to build some sort of entertainment out there? Because, as you mentioned, the parking issues, having a concert at the Smith Center or even Keaton Stadium is largely impossible given your parking situation on a weeknight or when school's in session.
Definitely something we've looked at. We think there's a gap in the market for a mid-sized entertainment venue. We certainly have the land. The access to that site right off Interstate 40 is excellent, and so that could very well be one of the uses there.
Do you get a sense that schools or colleges here at the university are going to want to go out there? Are you getting lobbying from people to say, yes, let's get to the new part, let's get a new facility, let's get, is there some lobbying going on behalf of some of the colleges?
One of the biggest challenges we have here on campus is the lack of available space, particularly modern space. And you can teach English in the same classroom for 100 years, and we do. But you can't do that with some of our most popular majors. Biology is our fastest growing major. It's the most popular major in the college. That requires modern facilities, and we don't have enough of them here on campus. So one important component for Carolina North will be the construction of modern lab and research facilities that help us meet the demand that we're seeing.
I know that the state legislature tried to get you guys some sort of life sciences type of engineering school. There was some pushback to that, but is that the kind of growth you'd like to see out there? I know AI technology is something that's obviously going to become a dominant part of our future. It seems like there's an opportunity for the school to expand in other ways like that.
By all means. So we used to be in the college about a third between humanities, social sciences, and STEM. We're now half STEM, and that's without an engineering school. So the demand for those majors, computer science is one of our top 5 majors, biology, as I say, number 2 overall, easily the fastest growing, and that requires more space and modern space. At the same time, we sit here in a commercial hotbed of entrepreneurial activity around life sciences, and we envision being able to partner more with the private sector to help build out more research space, lab space, office space.
Have you seen, you've been to a lot of different schools, I'm sure, in your role. Have you seen someone that's done this kind of project in a way that you'd like to emulate, or at least maybe pull some parts of what somebody's done? Obviously, NC State has built the Centennial campus, but are there some schools or places that you've seen that have gotten this right?
There are some really interesting examples out there. What Georgia Tech has done in Atlanta, I think, is worth studying. We've spent a lot of time learning about that project. Purdue has a discovery district that's similar, focused around STEM. UC Davis in Sacramento has just built out something similar. There are obviously lessons to be learned from Centennial campus. And so one of the best things about the higher education community is that everybody can learn from each other. People are always willing to share best practice.
In 25 years or 50 years, what is your hope? What is Carolina North going to look like, and how is it going to be integrated with what I guess we'll call the traditional campus?
Carolina North is going to be a full-blown campus, a live, work, play, learn, research, study environment with all of the uses that you'd expect on a college campus. I think the connectivity between here and there will only continue to grow. We have this remarkable asset that belongs to the people of North Carolina that we can use to fulfill our mission of service to the people of North Carolina, and that's what we're going to do.
So you're envisioning a quad out there?
By all means.
Yeah, that there'll be, what you see here will be similar to what you see out there.
Absolutely, and I'd also note that the forest there, the Carolina North Forest, is a remarkable asset. It's of tremendous value, not just to the town, but to the broader Triangle region, and that's not going anywhere. I'm one of the many people who enjoy those walking and running trails, and that's an important part of Carolina North. It's going to stay there. It's going to continue to be something that the people of the town and the people of the Triangle can continue to enjoy.
But the runway will have to come out.
The runway is going away.
Anything else that we've missed or that you wanted to add about this project?
We're just very excited. If you look back to the growth of this campus since 1795, Old East over here, the oldest continuously operating public university building in America, this building, 1798. Carolina North is the most important expansion of the campus since 1795. So it's a tremendous opportunity. It's in service to the people of North Carolina, and we're excited to get going.
Will there be there's been a lot of campaigns. Will there be like a dedicated campaign for construction out there, or you think through other donations and public-private partnerships you'll be able to get the funds needed to build all that?
I think you'll see more done through public-private partnerships than through private philanthropy, although philanthropy always has a role to play in just about everything we do around here.
Great. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.